Just take me to the police station.
Sean, man.
It's a girl's life,
Do
Derek.
it. Just make another call.
Forget that.
Oh my gosh. Sean!
No! They need to see my face. They need to see this.
Dude, she's probably already dead by now.
Derek, that's somebody's little girl. I mean, what if this was your sister?
My sister? If it was my sister, I'd go out there and save her myself.
We tried that, didn't we? We tried that, and it didn't work. We're in way over our heads here.
Dude, you know you're going to jail, right?
Yeah, well, I deserve to go to jail.
Welcome to the other side of Infinity War. This is Michael Faulkner, and it is showtime at the May 1st, 2018 edition of the Weekly Podioplex. Brought to you on the Chronic Rift Network. Starting with the box office report for week 17 of 2018, there are no surprises when it comes to the crown. Avengers Infinity War pushed 2018 to the top of the heap, boosting this year's week 17 nearly 260% over the same week from last year. The closest competitor is 2011, which headlined Fast 5 and a top 12 total of $144.9 million. This year, the top 12 pulled in $305.7 million. Let's start this countdown with number 10 and Traffic, down 1 from 9th. At number 9 is Ready Player One, down 3 from 6th. At 8th is Blockers, down 1 from 7th. In 7th is Truth or Dare, down 2 from 5th. And capping the bottom 5 is Super Troopers 2, down 2 from 4th. The top 5 begins with Black Panther, up 3 from 8th with $4.7 million, add to a total of $688.4 million. This movie got a nice bump from Infinity War, and this week marks the first time since The Incredible Hulk debuted 10 years ago that 2 films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe are in the top 10 at the same time. Seems fitting for the 10th anniversary. In 4th place is Rampage, down 2 from 2nd with $7.2 million and a total of $78 million. In 3rd place is I Feel Pretty, holding steady with $8.2 million and a total of $29.6 million. In 2nd place is last week's winner, A Quiet Place, earning $11 million for a total of $148.5 million. And taking over in 1st this week is Avengers Infinity War, debuting to $257.7 million domestically and a worldwide total of $630 million. First things first, that's a new domestic opening weekend record, beating Star Wars The Force Awakens by $10 million. Additionally, this one broke the records for the largest single Saturday gross, the largest single Sunday gross, the largest April opening, the largest spring opening, the widest PG-13 release, and the fastest film to $150, $200, and $250 million. Internationally, Infinity War's performance came in second only to Fate of the Furious, which included China in its worldwide premiere. Let's add back in that domestic total, and the global debut beats Fate of the Furious by a solid $100 million for the top opening performance of all time. Audiences gave Infinity War an A cinema score, and critics ranged between a 68 and 84%. It's also further proof that Marvel is eating DC's lunch on the silver screen. The domestic premiere for Infinity War beat the domestic total for Justice League in just one weekend. And Infinity War will surpass Justice League's total worldwide gross within days. I give this one a 9 out of 10 score, and I can't really say much without spoiling the film. I'm glad Marvel had the fortitude to bring that story to audiences, and after that ending, I can't wait to see how they dig out of this hole. If you're a Marvel fan, make the time to go see it. So where do we go from here? The box office premieres for May 4th are tackling the Avengers with remakes, comedies, and Time Lords Gone Bad. This week's headliner is Bad Samaritan, a horror thriller starring David Tennant, Carrie Condon and Robert Sheen.
Welcome to Nino's, sir.
That's paddle shift, so don't go breaking the ears off thinking it's your granny's Vauxhall. Anyone smokes anything near my car, we'll have a problem. Try not to sweat, you smell like a drum circle. For God's sake, don't park under any freaking trees, huh?
That's a beautiful car, sir.
Yeah? Don't touch it. No, 10,000 is good for now. I'll call you. I have something new breaking.
A pair of burglars stumble upon a woman being held captive in a home they intended to rob. That's awkward. Bad Samaritan is rated R. Number 2 on the list is Tully, a comedy drama starring Charlize Theron, Mackenzie Davis, and Mark Duplass.
You seem like a great mom.
Great moms organize class parties and casino night. They bake cupcakes that look like minions. All the things I'm just too tired to do. Honestly, even getting dressed just feels exhausting. I open my closet and I just think, didn't I just do this?
Yeah, but that's the downside of living on a planet with a short solar day. Although Jupiter's even shorter.
You're like a book of fun facts for unpopular fourth graders.
This is the story of Marlo, a mother of 3, including a newborn, who is gifted a night nanny by her brother. Hesitant to the extravagance at first, Marlo comes to form a unique bond with a thoughtful, surprising, and sometimes challenging young nanny named Tully. Tully is rated R. And number 3 on our list is Overboard, a romantic comedy remake starring Anna Faris, Eugenio Derbez, and John Hannah.
You and I are Mr. and Mrs. Leo Sullivan. We met in Cancun. You were a tour guide. I was working on a cruise ship. Is any of this ringing a bell?
Nope, nothing.
We dated every time I docked. We would get frozen yogurt and watch the sunset over the Playa Tortugas. That's where we fell in love.
Sounds like you're romantic, Leo.
Look. I admit there are many things I've forgotten. But from the depths of my soul, I know I'm not married to this woman. So, unless I see some real proof, I'm getting a slice of pie at the cafeteria. Good luck, crazy lady.
Wait, honey. I didn't want to say this because I know it embarrasses you, but you have a tattoo of a cartoon mouse on your right butt cheek.
No, I don't. You're really my wife?
For better or worse, baby.
A spoiled, wealthy yacht owner is thrown overboard and becomes a target of revenge from his mistreated employee. Overboard is rated PG-13. There are also 3 titles on this week's limited slate, and you can find those in the show notes. Next up is the home entertainment slate for the week of May 1st. New releases on DVD and Blu-ray are looking strong this week. We begin with 12 Strong, a war drama starring Chris Hemsworth, Michael Shannon, and Michael Pena. A team of CIA agents and special forces head into Afghanistan in the aftermath of the September 11th attacks in an attempt to dismantle the Taliban. 12 Strong is rated R. Number 2 is Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell, a sci-fi monster thriller starring Michael Gross, Jamie Kennedy, and Tanya Van Gran. Burt Gummer and his son Travis Welker find themselves up to their ears in graboids and ass blasters when they head to Canada to investigate a series of deadly giant worm attacks. Arriving at a remote research facility in the Arctic tundra, Burt begins to suspect that graboids are secretly being weaponized, but before he can prove his theory, he is sidelined by graboid venom. With just 48 hours to live, the only hope is to create an antidote from fresh venom, but to do that, someone will have to figure out how to milk a graboid. Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell, is rated PG-13. Number 3 on the list is Winchester, a mystery thriller starring Helen Mirren, Jason Clarke, and Sarah Snook. Ensconced in her sprawling California mansion, eccentric firearm heiress Sarah Winchester believes she is haunted by the souls of people killed by the Winchester repeating rifle. Winchester is rated PG-13. Number 4 is Peter Rabbit, an animated family film starring Rose Byrne, James Corden, and Margot Robbie. Peter Rabbit's feud with the McGregor family reaches new heights as he and Thomas McGregor compete for the affections of a kind animal lover who lives next door. Peter Rabbit is rated PG. And number 5 is Please Stand By, a comedy drama starring Dakota Fanning, Toni Collette, and Alice Eve. An autistic young woman leaves her supervised group home and embarks on a perilous journey to Paramount Studios, where she is determined to submit her manuscript for a Star Trek writing competition. Please Stand By is rated PG-13. From this point forward, everything's pretty bare bones. Swinging by new release on digital video, we have The 1517 to Paris, a history thriller starring Anthony Sadler, Alex Skarlatos, and Spencer Stone. American soldiers discover a terrorist plot on a Paris-bound train. The 1517 to Paris is rated PG-13. Moving right along to TV on DVD and Blu-ray, we have one title there. It's Broken, a BBC miniseries from 2017 starring Adrian Dunbar, Sean Bean, and Finn Campbell. Sean Bean gives a mesmerizing performance as Father Michael Kerrigan, the well-liked, well-meaning priest of a multicolored flock in northern England. How can he help parishioners who wrestle with gambling addiction, homophobia, and poverty? Would a schizophrenic teenager still be alive if Father Michael had answered a late-night phone call? Harrowing, heartbreaking, and ultimately hopeful, Broken renews your faith in the power of day at a time, kindness, and grace.
Human kindness is overflowing, and I think it's gonna rain today.
Wrapping up the home entertainment slate, I bring you Blu-rays from the past, and, well, this week is just Blu-ray from the past. That one is Legend of the Mountain, a supernatural mystery drama from 1979 starring Chun Shi, Feng Su, and Sylvia Chang. A scholar, tasked to copy a sutra, meets with a mysterious old lady and her daughter in the mountains. Legend of the Mountain is not rated. After a brief break for a bout of shameless podcast cross-promotion, the Weekly Podioplex will return.
Hello, Marvel Universe! The Earth Station MCU podcast is your home for all things related to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Join our debrief as we discuss Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, upcoming and past favorite Marvel movies, cosplay, comics history, toys, games, interviews, and all things MCU. Whether you're a hero or a villain, a new viewer, or have been reading comics since you were a kid, there's something for you on Earth Station MCU.
And welcome back to the Weekly Podioplex. I'm Denise with your Quick Flicks. We are not going to talk about Infinity War. We are not going to talk about Infinity War. We are not going to talk about Infinity War. Michael and I might talk about Infinity War because those people who are saying Thanos' motivations are dumb have no idea what they're talking about, and I will fight you on this. Thanos is certifiable. Michael and I will talk about it. In the news this week, you can pre-order Atari's new console later this month. I had no idea Atari was coming out with a new console. The things you learn, man. The things you learn. Atari has put a date on pre-order availability for the new console. The Atari VCS was initially teased by the company in 2017. At the time, it was known as the Atari Box, but we're not really concerned with names right now. The company has lauded the console as offering up a modern experience with app functionality for Netflix and a library containing more than just classic Atari games. The console will be available to pre-order starting at $199, but keep in mind that various editions have yet to be established. Interested users will be able to pick up the Atari VCS Collector's Edition for a limited time, the Collector's Edition being the version with the wood finish, alongside the Onyx version, the one without the wood finish. Don't get too excited yet, even with the pre-order, players will need to wait until spring 2019 for the console's release. Sorry guys. Hey, at least it isn't like Nintendo, right? At least Atari is actually getting a head count before going ahead with production. Next, John Cena is set to star in Dwayne Johnson-produced Jansen Directive. I have no idea what a Jansen Directive is, but okay. Oh, apparently it's a movie based on a Robert Ludlum novel of the same name. Johnson was originally tapped to star in the movie as well as serve as executive producer alongside business partner and ex-wife Dani Garcia and their $7 production company, but pulled away from his acting duties when his schedule became too full. Enter in John Cena, who shares a WWE history with The Rock. Ben Smith and Jeffrey Weiner of Captivate Entertainment will serve as producers on the movie, with $7 production Hiram Garcia, James Vanderbilt, Brad Fisher, and William Schrock of Mythology. Akiva Goldsman of Weed Road Pictures will also join the production team, while Mythology's Tracy Nyberg will also act as executive producer. Having never read a Robert Ludlum novel in my life, I can only say, that's interesting, and move on. Next, Mel Gibson is set to direct World War II drama Destroyer. The movie will be the actor-director's second World War II film in a row, as his dormant directing career came roaring back to life with 2016's Hacksaw Ridge, a movie I still have not seen. Like Hacksaw Ridge, Destroyer will focus on a different aspect of the Battle of Okinawa from April 1945. So Hacksaw Ridge was a completely different thing, but it was a World War II movie. I screwed up that part of the script. Anyway, the movie Destroyer is based on John Wukowicz's Hell from the Heavens, the epic story of the USS Laffey and World War II's greatest kamikaze attack. Ooh, Navy story. The story concerns itself with a crew of naval officers who, despite 32 deaths, successfully defended the naval destroyer against 22 different kamikaze attacks by the Japanese army. THR also reports that Gibson is in talks for a major role in the Mark Wahlberg starring big screen reboot of The $6 Billion Man. K. That was a mouthful. Being former Navy and a World War II buff, I am definitely interested in Destroyer. Mel Gibson has proven himself a talented, if graphic, director, and I'm interested to see how this next addition to his film lineup pans out. Next, John Woo and Lupita Nyong'o are teaming up for the Killer remake, with Nyong'o starring as the titular assassin. The 1989 movie starred Hong Kong legend Chow Yun-fat in a classic story of a hitman looking to pull off one final job and leave the life forever. I'm in, make it happen, I love it. And finally, Fireball Island is making a comeback. I don't know what this is and I want it. Okay, so, according to the rules, 2 to 4 players are sent on a perilous trip to a tropical island and are forced to survive the volcanic eruptions of the idolized Volcar. K. Spitting marbles instead of, lava, Volcar is a downright nuisance as players are sent flying off the board in their quest to capture the island's jewel and escape to safety. Man, I want to play! While the original game was released by Milton Bradley in 1986, a Kickstarter campaign from Restoration Games promises to reinvent Fireball Island while still keeping the heart of the 80s burning. And it looks like things have gotten more complicated in the game thanks to the addition of new gameplay and more marbles, giving Volcar the ability to spit the little glass balls. I want it now. Gimme. Restoration Games are looking to ship around November. Hopefully the game won't be limited to Kickstarter because I know what my family is doing for board game night. And that's it for this week's Quick Flicks. I'll see you guys next time on the Weekly Podioplex.
Thank you, Denise. And here we are once again at the end of a new edition of the Weekly Podioplex. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition or the show in general, we would love to hear from you. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you think we could do better. You can do that by surfing over to the Chronic Rift homepage at chronicrift.com and leaving an audio message right there on the website using your microphone. Just click the widget that says send voicemail and follow the prompts. You can also write an email or send an MP3 to weeklypodioplex@gmail.com, or even go short form with Twitter. The Chronic Rift is chronic_rift. The Weekly Podioplex is Weekly Podioplex. Denise is Riley James Keith, all one word. And I am Womprat99, like the creature Luke with Bullseye is T16 in Beggar's Canyon. You can give the Chronocrypt a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, leave us a review on iTunes, and find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronocrypt on Facebook. The usual disclaimer applies, of course. If you leave us feedback, you may hear your words on a future edition of the Weekly Podioplex. Slowly but surely, I'm also getting the archives up for the Weekly Podioplex on YouTube, so if you really want to go back in time, you can check those out there. Take a moment, stop on by, and see what other shows the Chronocrypt Network has to offer. The main show has made a comeback in 2018. It's offered weekly via Facebook Live on Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Grab a cuppa and join in the fun, or download the audio version later in the podcast feed. We also explore our favorite aspects of genre entertainment with the Batcave podcast, the OSI Files podcast, the G2V podcast, Generations Geek, presenting the transcription feature, the Dan and Travis Show, the Sci-Fi Diner podcast, Doctor Who and Mr. Drew, the Home Game Show version podcast, and so much more. In fact, the OSI Files podcast is making a comeback of its own, this time on video. If you have a Roku player, you can treat it like a time machine with the Chronocrypt's Roku channel, which has episodes of the Chronocrypt's adventures in the 1990s when it was a public access television show on the New York City airwaves. No Roku, no problem, because those episodes are also being uploaded to Facebook, YouTube, and archive.org. So hey, check us out and find the culture in pop culture. If you're interested in more of my adventures, take a quick trip to my blog, Creative Criticality, where I'm watching every episode of Doctor Who from the very beginning of that franchise and reviewing those tales in the Timestamps Project. This week, I'm continuing the 24th season with the 7th Doctor and the mostly harmless Delta and the Bannerman. And you can find that review and so many more at creativecriticality.wordpress.com, and you can also find Creative Criticality on Facebook. If you're in the Atlanta area this weekend, you can also find me at Wholanta, a convention celebrating Doctor Who, British science fiction, and speculative fiction overall. I'll be on several panels, having a good time, and being up to generally no good. The convention is at the Atlanta Airport Hilton on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Denise can also be found on the internet at Accessories Not Included, where she talks about her writing, reviews books, and offers her services as an artist and a cover designer. She did the logo for Creative Criticality, and you know I shake my tail feathers here every week for her. I think she does great work. You can check her out at accessoriesnotincluded.com. You can also find Denise's art on her Instagram account, Layman's Terms. That's LaymonSterms, where she's celebrating the month of May with mermaids. That's 31 days, 31 tales. It's like Inktober, but mermay. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make that store supports the Chronocrypt Network. Your support keeps us on the air, and we appreciate your consideration. Look for the links to our best bets and the network store in our show notes, or click the Amazon box on the website. The Weekly Podioplex is a Lucky Shot production and is produced by John S. Drew. On behalf of Denise and John, this is Michael Faulkner. Thanks for listening. Until next time, there are adventures in drama, comedy, and action, worlds to explore in the depths of film. So get some popcorn, find your favorite seats, and enjoy the journey.